Lubbock, Texas, or maybe you know it as the Hub City, has been quietly drawing in thousands of new residents every year. Is it really the affordable hidden gem it's all hyped up to be? Or is there a side to Lubbock that you don't necessarily hear about until it's maybe too late? Hey, I'm Sam Riddle, a local real estate agent, and today I'm breaking down the real pros and cons of living in Lubbock, Texas. From cost of living and the community vibes to maybe the rougher realities like the weather, growth pains, and some more. If you're thinking about making a move, you'll definitely want to watch this first. Let's start with one of the hardest parts about life here and why a quick weekend getaway or quick trip with the fam isn't always as quick and easy as you might think it is, even though we are still in Texas. So number one, the first con I'm going to talk about is the isolation factor. One thing to consider if you're thinking about moving to Lubbock is its location, because it is pretty isolated. Lubbock is about 4.5 hours from Dallas, 6 hours from Austin, and 8 hours from Houston. So if you're someone who likes to take a quick weekend trip to visit friends or family in other parts of Texas, that drive is honestly pretty long and is very hard to do in one day, unless you love driving. And so Lubbock does, of course, have an airport, but the direct flight options are limited depending on where you're actually trying to go, if you're trying to go stateside or elsewhere. And if you're going somewhere out of state, you're probably going to be connecting through Dallas or Houston. And so for some people, the sense of distance actually can feel a little bit like being stuck or cut off from the rest of the state. Not necessarily a deal breaker, especially for me, but it is definitely something to think about, especially if you thrive and want that variety or love to travel and be super close and make day trips with your family. Hey, I help people just like you make their move to Lubbock, and I absolutely love it. If you're looking for some serious affordability and that chill lifestyle, Lubbock is a great spot to check out. Which brings me to my next point, and that is some serious affordability. We're going to be talking about a pro now. And serious affordability is one of the biggest draws to Lubbock, and your money just stretches a lot further here. The cost of living is significantly lower than both the Texas average and the national average, especially when it comes to housing. So whether you're buying an existing home or maybe you want a new construction home, we'll be shocked at some of the prices here and what our market is and what kind of house you can get for your money. So to put that in perspective, a $700,000 home in Austin might cost you as little as $400,000 to $500,000 here in Lubbock. And that's not just for the house, but you're actually more often than not getting a much larger lot too. And so the average cost of a lot here is actually around $5,000 an acre. And if you compare that to over $100,000 in maybe a Florida area or in California and San Jose, it's like $300,000. So if you've always dreamed of having that like elbow room, maybe you want a chicken, maybe you want a goat, Lubbock can help you make that dream a reality. And so my next con I'm going to be talking about is the wild weather here in Lubbock. The weather is definitely a bit of a roller coaster here, and some people like it, some people hate it. The city definitely goes through all 4 seasons in maybe one day or even 1 week. And you might get a snowy day on a Monday and be in shorts by Thursday, and that's exactly what happened a couple weeks ago, which was nuts. So the rapid temperature swings are just a part of life here, and sometimes you get sick, sometimes you don't. Allergies may hit you hard. Spring tends to be the toughest season for most Lubbockites just because it is known for its consistent wind and a lot of dust. Full-on dust storms that we call haboobs. It's very dry, it's very brown. This is going to be where you're going to see the tumbleweeds rolling around town. And I say dry as far as, the haboobs are dry, but it's the wettest part of the year. So summers are going to be dry, winters can get icy. We also always have the wind. And so if you're sensitive to the extreme weather or you have severe allergies, it might be a tough adjustment depending on where you're coming from. And so next I want to talk about another pro, and that's the West Texas charm. While Lubbock may feel far from the hustle of like all those big cities that I just mentioned, it definitely makes up for it with the people here. It's definitely a place where like your neighbors will still wave, strangers will definitely hold the door open for you, and people do genuinely want to help you out. I actually have a monthly membership at a car wash here, and I go get my car washed when I just need a little pick-me-up because honestly, every time I drive in, the employees make a mad dash out front. They make a point to come out, wave with the biggest smile, and it just brightens my day. So that's just what you can expect here. I mean, even as the city grows, it definitely holds tight to that small town spirit. And so you'll find community events nearly almost every weekday. And of course, Red Raider football games are a community event. It's a lifestyle here. It's not uncommon to run into someone you know at the grocery store, like all the time. And that everybody knows everybody vibe is definitely why people love to live here and people choose to continue living here. And maybe that's why you want to move here. I'm going to move on to a con, and that's the limited outdoor recreation and nightlife. And let's be honest, Lubbock, as you know, may not be known for its wild nightlife or the beautiful, lush scenery that you find in some of those, hill country areas of Texas. But we do have walking trails, we still have bike trails, and still beautiful parks like this one right behind me. So, I mean, it's a win-win. Just depends on how you look at it. We're not going to have those crazy rooftop bars. We're going to be leaning more towards those cozy bars, the local breweries, divey spots where the bartender knows your name. He's going to remember you even if you came 3 months ago. So if you crave more of that low-key local vibe and less big city entertainment, this is definitely more of that feel here. And so I'm going to be talking to my next pro, and that's the ease of navigation, mostly around Lubbock. And getting around Lubbock is actually very easy. It's very flat. It's mostly grid system here. So you can get from one side of town to the other in about 15 to 20 minutes, especially during non-peak hours. So we are building a new loop. Right now we have Loop 289 in Marshall Sharp, which makes getting around Lubbock very easy. And so whenever that new loop is finished, it'll make getting from South Lubbock to West Lubbock to North Lubbock even more accessible, because right now we don't have anything to zip around to the different parts of Lubbock if you're living in South Lubbock. And so with the city growing, the construction zones do obviously come with some traffic, and congestion definitely does pop up, especially during those rush hours, which definitely makes getting around town a little bit harder. But compared to larger cities, it's still very easy. If you hate long commutes or like those complicated traffic patterns that you have to try to avoid and navigate through the city to try to make it home 5 minutes early, Lubbock's layout is definitely going to be a pro for you. But I need to talk about the Texas Tech influence here. And so Texas Tech is actually the heartbeat of Lubbock. The university brings a definite youthful vibe and energy to Lubbock, and the Red Raiders have a big presence here. I mean, the town is filled with love for Texas Tech. It's more than just a school. It derives a lot of the local economy and the culture here in Lubbock. And Tech is actually one of the city's biggest employers. It also creates a very strong rental market here. And so if you are looking to invest, you have lots of investment opportunities, stuff like that. Football Saturdays too. I mean, it's going to be a thing. There's going to be flags everywhere. So another con I want to talk about is just the lack of natural beauty in big city amenities, which I kind of touched on earlier. But if you're craving that scenic hikes, the landscaping picnics, Lubbock's just not that ideal spot. You have stuff like this right behind me. It's very flat, and so you're not going to find those trees and mountains like you would in some of those other parts. But the parks and trails are very pretty. I mean, you can tell behind me that we do take pride in the parks and trails that we do have. People are always walking their dogs or having fun with their kiddos at the park. We also have smaller lakes where you can definitely go off and cool off in the summer. And so besides that, obviously we do lack in some of those amenities that come with the bigger city metros, like those upscale shoppings or large museums, stuff like that. And the entertainment is more like the local low key. So the flatness and simplicity of the landscape can feel a little boring to you, maybe, especially if maybe you're used to coming from Arizona where you just have mountains of hiking bike trails at your doorstep. But let's talk about a pro, and that's our wineries and farmers markets. So one thing I love about Lubbock is its wineries. A lot of people don't know this, which maybe you do or don't, but Lubbock is actually part of Texas' top grape producing regions, and the winery scene is thriving here. You'll find several local wineries, new wineries, offering tastings, tours, and live music on the weekends, and even farmers markets during the weekdays. Farmers markets have also become a very community staple here in Lubbock, where you can just go grab some fresh produce, homemade goods, some great sourdough bread, all the farmers' eggs, all the things. And so definitely a fun daytime activity and just that homegrown charm here in Lubbock. Okay, I'm talking about a pro is the expanding job market here in Lubbock. So Lubbock isn't just growing in size, but it is obviously growing in opportunity. Obviously, people are moving here for a reason. So healthcare and education are major industries here that are anchored by Texas Tech and the Health Science Center. Also, agriculture is very present here in our economy. So if you're in one of those fields or thinking about starting something new, Lubbock is actually a very good place for you to do that. The job market is stable. Like I said, the affordability and cost of living here is stable, and so it might come with less growing pains when you are trying to make that move across town or across state. Making a move is a big decision, so having the right information and the local expertise definitely makes all the difference. So whether you're buying or selling or just exploring the possibility of moving to Lubbock, I definitely am here to provide and help you with that realistic advice and support. So if you have any questions, don't hesitate to message me right here or call or text or schedule a Zoom call. And if you're curious about where people actually live in Lubbock, check out this next video where I tour an amazing home that's had over $140,000 in price reductions. It's insane. Talk about instant equity. Click right here to watch, and until next time, we'll see you around.